Let's work on today's LeetCode problem, partition equal subset sum. Let us see what the problem is all about. So we need to partition an array in two subsets such that addition of all elements of both subsets is equal. So there is going to be subset number 1, subset number 2, and the addition of all elements in subset 1 is going to be addition of all elements in subset 2. In other words, we can say that we need to find a subset of array such that total of all elements of such a subset is going to be half of the total of all elements of the array. So we need to find the total of the array divided by 2, and that is going to be our target sum for the subset. Let us learn that with an example. So here we have 1, 5, 1, 10, 5. This is the given array. The total is 22. So 22 divided by 2 is 11, which means we need to find a subset of this array such that the addition of all elements of that subset will be 11. So let us see. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 10 is 17. So definitely this is not the subset we can consider. Let us see another subset. 5, 1, that is 6. And then let us take 5. 6 plus 5, that is 11. And 11 is our target sum. That means 5, 1, 5 would make one subset. So the remaining elements would be a part of another subset. So we have found our subset, and that is going to be the answer that yes, there is such a subset. So the answer would be true. Let us see another example. This time the total is 23. That means we need to find a subset whose elements are going to be 23. The addition of all the elements is going to be 23 divided by 2. And that is 11.5. Now we are given the question already states that all the elements are going to be positive integer. So if all the elements are positive integer, then I don't think there is any possibility of making addition 11.5. So we can already state that no, there cannot be any such subset. How to go about solving this problem step by step? One possible way could be, which would be brute force, to create all possible subsets and then check if the sum of each subset is equal to 11 or not. If we find a subset that equals to 11, then we have found our answer. Now from there we can get this intuition that in order to create a subset, we'll have to look at every element, and then every element will have an option of being a part of that subset or not being a part of that subset. So for example, if we want to create a subset with 1, 5 and 6 as the elements, when we go to 1 will have an option either to be a part of that subset or not be a part of that subset. Then 5 will have an option, 1 will have an option. So in those cases where 1, 5 and 6 decide to be a part of that subset, then only we'll get a subset with 1, 5 and 6 as their members. There could be other paths as well where the elements did not decide to be a part of that subset. So in those cases, we'll probably not find a solution. Think about a backtracking based solution here. For each element of the array, we can decide whether the element wants to be a part of the subset or not. And then at every step, we'll check whether the total of that subset is equal to target or not. In case if the total exceeds the target, then we go back to the initial condition. And then from there, we start checking again. And then we go back and then we start checking again. In the scenario where the subset equals target, we'll return true. And then we'll go back to the initial condition. So that is the basic of backtracking. let us see how we are going to implement backtracking here. So this is the array that we are given with. This is the initial example that I gave you. 1, 5, 1, 10, 5 are the members. So in the initial condition, there is no element selected in our set. Now we have two possible choices with the first element. So we run a loop, and in every step of the loop, we decide whether we want to take the index in our subset or not. So initially the remaining total, that the target total is 11. See, 22 by 2 is going to be 11. So we have a variable that tells us what is the total remaining. Initially, because there is no element in our subset, it is going to be 11. Now there are two branches. In the first branch, we decided to take 1 in. In the other branch, we decided not to take 1 in. Let us go and inspect what happens if we decide to take 1 in. Now, if 1 is a part of our subset, then what is the remaining total? That is going to be 11 minus 1. It comes out to be 10. Now, from this place, again, we have two choices. One, where we can, where we decide not to take 5 in, and the other one where we decide to take 5 in. And then we go to the next step after that. So the index is at position number 2 at this level. Now, if we take 5 in, then it becomes 1, 5. And if we do not take 5 in, then it remains 1 only. Now in this situation, the remaining is 5. Now again, we have another choice, whether we can take 1 in or not. If we take 1 in, then our remaining is going to be 4. If we do not take 1 in, then our remaining will be 5. Let us see what happens in this branch again. If we are at this index, so if we take 10 in, then our total exceeds the target. So now the modified target is going to be minus 6. That is less than 0. So the condition of returning true in our case is going to be when the remaining is equal to target. And that is not the case, right? So it returns false. Then we reach here and we start approaching this particular branch. So now from this point onward, we can decide to take 10 in, or we can decide not to take an in. If we decide to take 10, then this total is going to be 10 plus 5 plus 1, that is 16. So 11 minus 16 is minus 5. So the remaining total is minus 5 in this case. That is less than 0. So we return from here and we return a false. Now, if we decide to not take 10 in, then the total would be 1, 5, and that is remaining 6. Now from 1, 5, we are here, and we at this point we have reached this index. We can take 5 in, or we decide not to take 5 in. If we take 5 in, then the elements in our set would be 1, 5, 5, and the addition would be equal to 11. So the remaining amount would be 0. So when the remaining amount becomes equal to 0, we return true from here. So all the decision point would return true, and then we'll finally reach this point, and this will also return true, and that is where our whole function ends. So this is how backtracking is implemented. In terms of code, we'll be using a recursive algorithm. Let us see how to implement it. So first of all, let us see what our target is going to be. For that, we'll need the addition of all the elements of nums. We can use reduce method on nums array. So let total equal to nums dot reduce a comma b a plus b. And what is going to be our target? So right before target, we should check whether we have an even number or not. So if total is an even number, that is fine. But if it is an odd number, we should return false from here itself, because there would not be any condition where the subset, there would be two subsets with equal sum. We have only integers here, so we cannot go into fractions. Now the other case where we are fine, so our target is going to be total divided by 2. Now from here, let us implement a recursive algorithm. Let me call it can partition recursive. It will have some parameters, and let us decide what these parameters are going to be. So before that, can partition recursive. So one parameter it will need is the nums array. Then another is going to be remaining sum. So at each iteration of the loop, we are going to check whether remaining sum is 0 or not. Then the current index. So let us pass all of these things in nums. In the beginning, remaining sum is going to be our target, and index is going to be 0 because we start at the beginning of the array. Now this is going to be a recursive algorithm. So the recursive algorithm should have the first thing as the termination conditions. So what is going to be our termination condition? If remaining sum is equal to 0, then we return true. This is the final objective. But let us say that we have reached the end of the array. The index has already reached the end, and even then our remaining sum hasn't been able to reach 0. Or the other scenario where we could be in the middle of the array, but remaining sum is already less than 0. In both the cases, we know that we should not proceed any further. We should return false. So if index is equal to nums dot length, or if remaining sum happens to be less than 0, in both the cases we should return false. Then now is the time when we have to decide whether we want to select this element in our subset or not. So there are going to be two cases. I'll call it result. So if we decide to take the element in, then we'll call the can partition recursive method. Let me confirm that. There was probably some typo. Yeah. So this is the case where we take the element in. If we take the element in, then our remaining sum would decrease. And remaining sum would decrease by the current element amount, and along with that we'll also increase the current index. So that is one case. The other possibility could be, so that is OR that I put in there, which you might not be able to see. Yeah, so that is OR condition. So, or this is the case where we do not pick the element in. So can partition recursive nums. This time, because we haven't taken the element in, remaining sum is going to remain the same. REMI. It is going to remain the same. And we increase our index from index to index plus 1. And I think that should give us the result. Let us see. Some error, must be some, okay, nums. It has to be nums. Another one. Oh, I'm using I there on the place of index. Yeah, that works. Let us see with example test cases. This one also works. But there is just one more thing. So at this point in time, we are going to test all possible branches, even if we have already seen the response is going to be false if we go with the same index and if we go with the same remaining sum. So there has to be some provision so that if we have already seen that for a particular index and for particular remaining sum, the answer is going to be false, we should not go and check it again. So for such cases, we use a technique called as memoization. So memoization is nothing but we use a hash map for storing these conditions. So I'll create a memo here. I'll use a map and I'll pass the memo along with the function. So the memo is going to be passed here. Memo is going to be passed here as well. And then memo is going to be passed here as well. How to use memo? So after these conditions, we check if the memo has our key. In this case, the key is going to be remaining sum and pair of index. So we can write it as index and remaining sum. That is our key. So if memo has this key, then we can directly return memo. And the same key again from here. If that is not the case, before returning the result, we should store the result in our memo. So memo.set and then the key and result there. This works. Let us submit it. Yeah, we got it. So thanks a lot for watching this with me. Please like and subscribe if you like this video.